They say that being alone isn't the worst thing in the world. Being stuck with people who make you wish you were alone is the worst thing in the world. Feminism and toxic culture were the most effective birth control ever created. Men saw their fathers destroyed by divorce and family courts and quickly realized it was a losing proposition. We also heard our parents constantly complaining about how difficult it was being a parent, not very appealing. What's the point of working so hard for someone who views you as either an ATM or a monster, who may or may not be loyal? Someone who most likely will not be worth the effort you put into it? Solitude is the best option, especially if you're a man. We can handle it, they can't. The average female ignores, humiliates, and rejects the average feller because he's average. She sees the wall fast approaching, and now she is willing to talk to the average guy she dumped years ago. Except that guy has either found someone or has gone his own way, and now she's stuck and in a panic. The reality is, despite the seeming desperation coming from some of these women, you're still not going to match with them. But if you did, there's still no reason to risk your future with a legal marriage, common law or regular. Remember, not too long ago, when men found women to be irresistible, then men got taken to court, humiliated, called toxic creeps, and worse. Now the sight of those cut legs and brilliant smiles turns them to dread and suspicion. Now when men deal with women, and she shows any interest, he has to ask himself, is there a trick involved? Am I just a free meal? I can't remember where I read the study, but it said something like 90% of modern women don't want to date a single man they know through acquaintances because they fear it could ruin their friendships. Men are not afraid of rejection, as much as we are afraid of getting a yes from women. More often than not, that just begins a long road of regret and disappointment. When I see one of these girls, I wonder how many good men have been left in your wake, wishing they had never even met you. Don't give them the ego boost of male attention. Your time and attention are very valuable, so act like it when interacting with women. Use your time, money, and attention to get guaranteed returns on your investment of all three. Women are starving for male attention, so use this to your advantage if you choose to. They're waiting at the finish line for a man who wants to settle, but those men are just starting to experience the life they want, where they get to have the female attention and desire they wanted when they were younger. You know, as women age, they are met with an overwhelming truth. They start to realize that sooner or later, they won't be able to receive the same attention and validation that they did when they were in their 20s. They won't be able to have children. Giving birth will get harder, and they'll need to find a partner, settle down, and start a family right away. Typically, women in their mid to late 30s are affected by this. The majority of women are not prepared for the wall, which is another name for the forthcoming era when the biological clock starts to slow down and finally comes to a standstill. These women are also aware that no matter how much success they pursue, they will always feel empty inside because they could never climb the corporate ladder without foregoing or delaying having children and settling down with a nice man. For more than 20 years, many women in their early 30s have successfully attracted men's attention. Males as young as their early 20s and even as elderly as their 50s and 60s have and will continue to have the urge to date women in their prime. It's just like sometimes when you cannot save a drowning person, as you yourself could be drowned by them, just in the attempt to save them. These women have let the tide drag them too far out, and you cannot save them without you yourself drowning in the attempt. Men are starting to learn dating women over 30 or single mothers is not worth it. Millennial men and Generation Z men know the game now. This isn't the 90s or 80s anymore. When these women say they want a relationship with a good man, they mean a 6 feet, 5-inch wealthy bodybuilder who made his money as a male model. They don't understand that they won't ever meet a man that meets their standards, because there are almost no men who do. But women refuse to settle. Even their friends won't tell them. Women often mature earlier than men when they are teenagers, because they have historically had the reproductive advantage when it comes to passing on their genes. This is because, especially at times in our history when resources were scarce, the earlier women mature, the higher the prospects are for the survival of our species. They will, however, wither earlier as well, because they flower earlier. Men with money and resources are more likely to attract women, and smart men who put out the effort and save money will only become more alluring to women over time. Women in their prime go to clubs in order to live off of the attention and validation they receive from men of all sizes and ages. Young girls who frequent clubs are real crowd pullers too. They raise the level of that club and enable more ticket sales, along with the sales of drinks inside. Since everybody wants to go to clubs that are frequented by young and beautiful girls in their prime, the brand equity of those clubs increases exponentially. With regards to MGTOW, I've said this before as well. Clubs are more like zoos where everybody flocks to see the pretty birds or the majestic tigers, and the zoo owners do everything they possibly can to give them more visibility. Clubbing isn't what it used to be. Now, it's about a bunch of thirsty men who are incredibly low value, simping after average girls who are only looking for the validation they're addicted to. And in all of this, the owners of the clubs make profits, and entire generations get wasted on alcohol, and waste away their resources on meaningless things, trying to chase the wrong man and woman. Men, on the other hand, are drawn to women because of their capacity for reproduction. The aging process can be compared to a game of poker full of deception and other types of misdirection, where both sides are involved. For example, if a man and a woman were playing poker in their early 20s, the man starts with 1 chip and the woman has 90. But by the time they are 35, he has 85 of those chips, and she has only 6. Your financial resources have a significant impact on your status and alternatives in real life, just like in poker. More women than men that I am aware of wasted their money rather than save it when they were young. They would go on trips, purchase shoes, have supper out a couple of times a week, and hang out a lot with their pals. When they are in their mid-30s, they would also spend a lot of money on cosmetics and cab fare. I've seen women who are so deeply in debt from credit card debt and student loans that they are in dire need of a wealthy man to save them. Many of the ladies I know have openly admitted to me that they are searching for sugar daddies to assist them in paying off their debts. For women, the aging wall can be a fatal psychological blow. Men live longer than women and are more open to dating a range of 20-something women after they are in their mid to late 30s. Women's reality begins to sink in around the age of 30. They party their way through their 20s, pursuing the bad guys, the highs, the tattoos, and the clubs, while subsisting entirely on the unrestricted affirmation and attention they receive from hungry males. Reality sets in when they are in their 30s. They are no longer the object of lust at nightclubs from guys. They can't obtain the complimentary affirmation they formerly did. The men who used to hang out with them at parties are now settled and leading fulfilling lives with their spouses. These ladies discover that society has changed while they are still thinking like they are in their 20s. They also begin to understand that their biological clock is about to expire, which sends them into a panic and prompts them to look for a guy anxiously. The same polite and responsible person they laughed at in their 20s. The same person who is now a millionaire and lives contentedly with his young bride while also taking pleasure in life. Attention and validation play a huge role in women's lives. Well, they play a huge role in men's lives as well. The only difference is that women are the ones who always expect and receive it, while men are always the ones to give it to them. Men have realized that finding a good woman is like looking for a needle in a haystack. They have realized that women are hypergamous, hypocritical, and cannot be trusted in long-term commitment. They have realized the juice is not worth the squeeze. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. And let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.